Three in a row, baby, three in a row. Hello, and welcome back to a guide to RotMG Dungeons, a series in which I'll try and cover every dungeon in Realm of the Mad God. In the last episode, I talked about a spooky forest full of confusion-inflicting moths and squirrels that somehow learn how to use weapons and armor. Quite the magical place, the video of which you should definitely check out. In this episode, however, it's not quite as magical, as I'll be covering a creepy crawly dungeon full of Jeepers Creepers. That's right, it's the skin-crawling spider den. My beginning action to the guide will of course be my recommendations for the gear you'll be needing. The case with this dungeon is that you can quite easily complete it with nothing. However, if you're inexperienced, you don't need to worry. The gear you'll most likely get before you actually find a portal to it should be more than enough. Spider Den is a great dungeon to do as early as possible, as it can easily gear you up and provide you with much needed consumables. Don't lie to yourself, you need as many as you can get. Oh, and by the way, I'm not even gonna get started about the fact that these spiders only have 6 legs. But enough about that, let's find out where it drops from. You can either basically throw away your hard-earned money on a few pixels, or you can find the entrance by killing one of these enemies: the Orc King, Pedo Bear aka Werelion, the Red Spider, Shambling Sludge with the arms that scream gym allergy, Floating Pixels, and the Desert Werewolf. Once the ordeal of locating it is over, you quickly find yourself in a random cave. There's not much to say about the layout or the rooms, but I guess I can try. It's a straight path to the boss room. No two ways to go, no treasure rooms, just walk forward. The rooms don't really differ from each other, it's mostly just circle, bigger circle, smaller circle. What is noteworthy, however, is that all of them are packed with both enemies and eggs. Oh, and a room does have a chance of containing 0 eggs and just spiders that are already spawned in. The most common of these spiders has to be the green den spider hatchling. There aren't any that are actually already spawned in, however their eggs are everywhere. It's the light green eggs scattered throughout the place that spawn a small swarm of these green hatchlings if they are killed. They're pretty weak and easy to clear, their only actual threat is in numbers if you accidentally spawn too many. Their only attack is shooting a shot that deals 15 damage and they don't actually drop anything. To make a quick side note, the eggs themselves are actually considered enemies. They don't do anything other than spawn spiders if they're shot or if you stand too close. It is also noteworthy that if you get too close to an egg, other eggs in the vicinity will also crack open, thus spawning even more than if you just shot it from afar. The second spooter is one of the red variety. Its name is Red Spotted Den Spider, and they, along with every other non-green spider, are the tougher enemies. These ones have a total of 200 HP and shoot 60 damage red shots in 6 different directions. They like to keep their distance and back away like cowards if you get too close. While they can do decent damage, the only real threat they pose is if you stand on top of them and eat all 6 shots, which can insta-kill you. The drops of all the non-green spiders are the same: Tier 4 weapons and armor, Tier 2 abilities, and Tier 2 rings. And remember when I mentioned much needed consumables? Well, they also drop Spider Ikers, aka your new best friend. A consumable that is a direct upgrade to a health potion, healing a whopping 150 HP. Get as many as you can, cause these bad boys are taking you places. The third creepy crawly is the Brown Den Spider. It doesn't possess a lot of HP, having only 100, but it does chase after the player while shooting non-stop shotguns of 3 shots that deal 20 damage. The only problem with these shots is that they're fast and annoying to dodge. Brownie is, however, as I said, pretty squishy, so getting rid of them before they get too close shouldn't be too much of a challenge. They drop the same drops as all the non-greens. We've then got the Black Spotted Den Spider. This guy likes to charge at you and shoots a shot dealing 40 damage. These are, however, surprisingly easy to dodge as you can just step to the side. Coming in at 200 HP, they can be a bit tougher to clear than the Brown Spider, however none of them should pose too much of a challenge. Again, same drops as before. Last and definitely the toughest is the Black Den Spider. Think of them as kinda like a powered up version of the Black Spotted Spider. They have the highest HP out of all the minions, it being 350. They like to charge you while shooting 50 damage projectiles that aim track. Aim track means that they don't shoot where you are, but rather where you're going to be if you continue to move the same way you were moving while the bullet was shot. Best strategy is to back away while firing at them as they chase you. For the last time, they drop the same stuff as the rest of them. Before I move on to the boss, I should also mention that every room has a chance of having a spiderweb chest. These things can drop pretty good gear alongside dropping guaranteed Icers, so killing it is always a must. Be mindful, however, as at around 50% HP, it has about a 50-50 chance that the lid will open, revealing a pair of red eyes. If this happens, it means that in 2 seconds the chest will be destroyed and spiders will spawn out of it. By the way, if you do manage to kill it before the self-destruct, there won't be any spiders. Now, without further ado, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's the glamorous, the beautiful, the sexy Arachna, the Spider Queen. She's kinda just chilling in the middle of the room until you walk up to her, after which she'll shoot out these balls called Arachna Elements, which create a net that slows you. In her first phase, she shoots green bolts at the player and in a circle around her, which is why standing on her is the absolute worst place to be. She'll also periodically fire a green shuriken that deals 75 damage and applies the weakened status effect for 5 seconds. Not much else to say, pretty simple. In her second phase, she'll choose between 2 different attack patterns and only do one of them. We'll call these attack patterns A and B. In the A pattern, she'll orbit the room clockwise while shooting rings of green shots. She'll also periodically switch orbiting distance by moving in between the different layers of the web. In pattern B, she'll pick a random Arachna element to go to while leaving behind a trail of shots that inflict bleeding. Once she reaches her chosen ball, she'll circle around it and shoot the same green shots, this time at the player. During the entirety of the second phase, she'll also shoot out eggs that spawn spiders. In the final phase, she'll use the attack pattern she didn't choose for the second one. So if she chose A for the second phase, third phase will be pattern B, and vice versa. During this phase, she stops shooting eggs and activates her shiny balls to start attacking you with projectiles that deal 30 damage and inflict slow. Once you get past all that, you're finally the victor. Arachna lays motionless at your feet as you feast on the loot you've been provided. Once defeating this giant spider, you may expect to get a guaranteed mark of Arachna and at least 1 Iker, tier 5 to 7 weapons, tier 6 to 7 armor, tier 3 abilities and rings, both common and uncommon pet eggs, an adorable eggshell spider's pet skin, as well as some untiered items. The first is the Poison Fang Dagger, a weapon that deals around the same damage as the tier 8 dagger at 0 defense, however is outdamaged by it at anything higher than that. Think of it as a tier 7.5 dagger, which is a pretty good drop from a dungeon of this difficulty. We then have the Spider Shuriken, a ninja star that doesn't do much damage, instead offering an ability to inflict the slowed status effect on enemies, as well as providing a reduced cost of mana for the speedy status effect you get when you hold the ability key. This shuriken does actually have a bit of use even in some endgame dungeons due to the slow, and it's useful for rushing. The final UT is the Spider's Eye Ring, a ring that provides the wearer with 5 vitality and 5 defense. Not really good stat bonuses for a ring, especially compared to just a normal HP ring, which offers a lot more survivability. But this item does have another aspect to it in terms of a reactive proc, which inflicts slow to all enemies within a 4.5 tile radius for 3 seconds whenever you take damage, with a cooldown of 10 seconds. While this isn't amazing, it does have a few niche uses. And that should be it. The dungeon as a whole is a great dungeon to do early on because of the almost guaranteed decent loot you can get from it, as well as the ever important spider Icers that can really get you out of a pinch in later challenges. As I've said before, I'll try to make a video on every dungeon, so any support you show will be greatly appreciated. I also stream on Twitch, so if you want to say hi, feel free to do so, channel in the description. Thank you and have a great day.